still looking at areas of triangles. And the book is kind of tried to introduce it to you before by having you'll recognize these problems when they give you a nice little rectangle. And they ask you to find the area of the rectangle. Let's say this is 8 by 10. But then they cut the right rectangle in half. And they ask you to find the area of the shaded portion. Well, that shaded portion there just happens to be a triangle. Okay? And when we did the problem, what did you do? Well, you know the area of the whole rectangle was 8 times 10, which is 80. Okay, but the triangle only covers half of that. So you'd have to take 80 and cut it in half. And the area of the triangle is 40. Okay, they try to get you to think about that a little bit here. 40 square inches or whatever it is. I'm just going to throw at you the formula that you'll know from this time for the rest of your entire life. That the formula for the area of a triangle, make sure you get this down in bold letters here, is 1/2 times base times height. Now that's how we abbreviate it so we don't have to write out all the words. Area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. And I think we talked about this before. I'll give you a chance to write that down because I don't want to get ahead of you. Maybe you can decorate yours nicely. Quite possibly you could take this little tool on your piece of paper and copy it. And maybe paste it. Make it a different color. Area equals 1/2 base times height. I believe we talked about this before. Notice it doesn't say area equals 1/2 length times width. Because in math, there's a difference between the base and the height and the length and the width. Unfortunately, for rectangles and rectangle squares, length and width and base and height can be exchanged. They are the same. But in math, when you're talking about the base, and the height, remember what I said about those? Maybe it wasn't your class. Who knows?
I remember talking about it.
What has to be true about the base and the height? Nate?
There has to be a right angle.
Exactly. The base and the height have to form right angles with each other. Okay? So, here is, let's see if you picked up on that. Here's my triangle. And I know that this is 12 inches, and this is 10 inches, and maybe this is, I don't know. Well, let's make it 10 inches as well. If I was looking to find the area of that triangle, I'm going to do my little formula, 1/2 times base times height. What two lines am I going to use for my base and my height? Alex?
12 and 10.
12 and 10 is not correct. Let me go back to what I just stated. The base and the height, the two things you multiply together, have to form right angles. Which one of these lines forms a right angle there? What two lines am I going to multiply together? You can't do this problem as it is because you're not given enough information. You're given the three sides, but you're not given a base and a height. The book, or whoever gives you the problem, will have to give you a dashed line, and you will see there's a square corner thing that they put in there to show you that two things are right angles, and they'll tell you that, okay? And it doesn't matter which one you call the base or which one you call the height, but it is the 12 and the line that forms the right angle with it that you use in the formula. The area of the triangle equals 1/2 of 12 times 8. You don't need the 10s. They don't form the square corner. So the dead giveaway, anytime you're asked to find area, is to look where this little corner is, because there has to be one in the problem. And whatever lines those two lines are, the two you multiply together. Holly?
Has How'd you get 8?
I made it up in my head.
How do you get that from the problem?
I don't. The problem book will give it to you. I just left it out at the beginning. There's no mathematical formula to find the 8. I just wrote it down because that's what it is in my mind. That's not an actual measurement, Holly. This is just a problem example. They will give you that. You won't have to figure it out. They'll give you the 2. Okay. Now, another helpful little thing here, children, is this. This is all multiplication here. In multiplication, it doesn't matter the order that you do it. So you don't have to do 12 times 8, 96, and cut it in half and get whatever it is, 48. You could take half of either one of these two numbers first, get your answer, and multiply. So you can multiply in any order, whatever way helps you. For example, half of 12 is 6, and then 6 times 8 is 48. Or if you like, you could have taken half of 8 and got 4, and then 4 times 12 is 48. Or you could have taken 12 times 8 and got 96, and half of that is 48. Either way, you'll get 48, but you can do this in any order. Okay, Josh?
Why don't you cut both of them in half?
Because you don't, because you only use the half once.
Oh.
Okay, for the same reason, Josh, if I gave you this problem, 6 times 2 times 3, you don't multiply the 6 times the 2 and then go ahead and multiply the 6 times the 3 and then multiply those two answers together. You multiply 1, 6 times 2, the 6 and the 2 are both gone. Now you multiply the 12 times the 3 and you get 36. Okay, you just multiply it once, otherwise you'd be multiplying it half twice. Now let's look at a couple other examples here. Let's say my triangle looks like this. Sorry, I don't like that. Change that again. Let's say my triangle looks like this. And I have, I don't know, 6 inches and 8 inches and 12 inches. And I'm using my formula, area equals 1/2 base times height. By the way, word to those people that want to please the math teacher, you will write that problem. You'll write the formula on your paper every time they ask you to do the area of a triangle, and including sketching the triangle. So what two numbers am I going to multiply together on this one, Alex? You can't. Holly, I'm just making this up. There's no way to know this. The book will give you this. Okay. They'll probably drop a line straight down from here, and they'll extend this line right here, and they'll put a nice square corner here. Okay, and this might be 5. Okay, what two lines form the right angle? This line and this line. It doesn't matter that there's this excess stuff here. That part doesn't matter. It's just there to show you that it's a continuation. Your formula will be area equals 1/2 of 6 times 5. Because those are the two lines that form the right angle. And again, doesn't matter the order you do this. I take half of 6 and get 3. And then 3 times 5. The area of this triangle is 15 inches squared. Alex?
What if after you like do the multiplication, like let's just say like it was 3 times 5, I guess. Well, what should it? No, wait. Yeah, instead
If
of
it's
6.
an odd number,
Yeah.
it would just be something in half. You can do halves, decimals, 0.5, 1/2, however you want to show it. Yeah, the worst case scenario, this is an odd number. Let's say this was, 5 times 5. What's half of 25? Half of 25 of it is 12.5 or 12.5. Either one would be fine. One more example. This is probably the best one in history here. Let's say this is my triangle. I want to find the area. What two lines form the base and the height there? Colton? Exactly. When it's a right triangle already, there will be a square corner there, and you don't need one of those dashed lines because it already has two sides that form the right angle. So area will equal 1/2 8 times 5, and half of 40 is 20 inches squared. Okay. Now please don't get confused here, children. On a problem like this, if they ask you to find the perimeter, the distance around the triangle, this dashed line is not part of the perimeter. The perimeter is just the actual shape itself. So you ignore this if they ask you for perimeter. You only need that to know the area. So when they tell you perimeter, please don't include that in there. Don't add all those numbers up. It's just 6 plus 8 plus 12. Not that there. I see that a lot. That's why I say it. What do you think? Can you handle that?
C. Yeah.
Those are the only three possibilities that you'll have with triangles. Either they'll have to give you two dashed lines to give you the height, or it'll be a right triangle and you already have the height, or it'll be a height coming down the middle, splitting the thing. There's no other, there's not really